Good evening. I realize it may not actually be evening when you're watching this, but I've been watching a lot of Alfred Hitchcock Presents lately, so I'm greeting you with a heartfelt and slightly deadpan good evening. This is a special installment of Transformers lovingly reviewed by AAlgar. Regular viewers will note that last week's installment, Sea Change, was episode 49 in the series, and since the entire series consists of a total of 98 episodes, my community college dropout math skills tell me that we've reached the halfway point. This also more or less marks a full year since I began doing these things, since you'll no doubt recall I took 2 weeks off at Christmas. I'm only a man, damn it, not a machine. And therefore, by my own standards, I'm one of the boring characters you should ignore. So yeah, here we are, halfway through. Let's take a look at a few interesting statistics while we're here. Actually, I made every one of those up, but I bet you didn't know that till I told you, and therefore, in a certain sense, they're true. But I'm not here to get philosophical on you. I'm here to answer your questions about my stupid cartoon reviews. Before we get started, I thought you might want to know a little about me. 6, green, yes, 7'5'8", and a girl named Jill my junior year of high school. Alright, on with the questions.
Our first question comes from Cruiser Dave. Do you know how many steps I had to go through to find you email address?
I don't know, like 6? 6 sounds about right.
Like a lot. I must have missed it in the actual podcast, but man, I had to search for it on your website, find it, click on it, find your contact page, scroll to the very bottom, and then decode it. So you better appreciate the questions you get, because those of us that are sending them had to work at it.
Well, of course I appreciate them, and I had no idea I was responsible for creating such a clusterfuck of inconvenience. I do sincerely apologize for that. I'll be amending my end titles to include contact information, but while we're on the subject, let's go over that right now, won't we?
Being as I am a grand attention whore, I am quite probably the most reachable person on the internet. Here are the more pertinent ways to get a hold of me. You can email me at algar@mac.com. You can leave comments on my reviews on YouTube or on my website, algar.com. You can become a fan of me, Algar, on Facebook, or become my friend. I'm there as Ron Algar Watt. You can follow me on Twitter. My name, shockingly, is Algar.
And if you're living in Southern Maryland in the year 1990, you can sign on to my BBS and chat with me about adventure games or my very stylish mullet haircut.
Question 2 comes from The Outlaw Torn 1080, which is one of my favorite Metallica songs, plus the number 1080 for some reason. So, do you think today's generation can watch this show and appreciate it as we did, or is it too dated for today's young audience?
You know, no. I don't think they can. I think a kid born in the 90s, or Christ, even in this decade, whatever we're calling it, has grown up with so many different things calling themselves Transformers that this show probably would just get lost in the mix. I personally don't give 2/10 of one crap about Beast Wars or Machine Wars or Cybertron or Animated, but a lot of people do. And those people seem to love shows that look like Pokemon. The original Transformers series doesn't look very much like Pokemon, and the only time it gave me a seizure was when I filled up on Pixie Sticks and Jolt Cola and watched the Ultimate Doom on Fast Forward.
Question 3 comes from a lot of people. I approve your videos. Your reviews are the funniest things I've seen in a long time. Are you going to do the other series, such as Armada and Animated? Do you watch that crappy Transformers Animated on Cartoon Network? What were your opinions on the 2007 Transformers movie?
I was going to pretend to be objective and gracious to the other series here, but I guess I sort of just tipped my hand. I personally don't give 2/10 of one crap about Beast Wars or Machine Wars or Cybertron or Animated. Yeah, I hate being one of those petty internet nitpickers, I honestly do. Those people fill me with a murderous rage. But I do have my limits, and slapping the names Megatron and Optimus Prime on any old vaguely robotish character just doesn't do it for me. I mean, I was willing to give the Michael Bay movie a lot of latitude because really, there's not a lot of depth and complexity to capture, really. Optimus Prime's primary character trait is that he's red. And they couldn't even get that right! Now granted, I get a lot of comedic mileage out of continuing to review things that I hate. But I'd have to drop the word lovingly from the title. And beyond that, I don't know if I want to be doing this for another 8 years. Alright, all that said, I will be reviewing a few sort of off-the-wall things for a website called Project Foxhole. I'll probably take a crack at Beast Wars, maybe something from whatever the current series is, and some other stuff. These reviews will be exclusive to ProjectFoxhole.com, which is an endeavor being launched by some good friends of mine. Hopefully the 3 or 4 of you who watch these things will go there, check them out, then stick around and have a look at what else the site has to offer.
Question 4 is somewhat related, but I wanted to address it separately. With as silly and inconsistent and sometimes just flat-ass goofy as the old Transformers can be for striking comedy gold, it has nothing on G.I. Joe. Have you ever considered reviewing G.I. Joe in the same manner? Just YouTube the episode The Wrong Stuff and you'll see the jokes almost write themselves.
Well, I wouldn't say it has nothing on it. They were both made by the same team, and I think they're both equally ridiculous. I actually had a close look at the first couple of G.I. Joe miniseries as I considered doing the series, and they're insane. There's actually a guy who solves all his problems by yodeling. And the writers managed to find a way for him to do this twice in one episode. I would love to do G.I. Joe, but then again, I don't want to get burned out on this stuff. When I finished with Transformers, I'll have been doing this for 2 years. I hate sitting still for that long. So, probably no, I won't be doing G.I. Joe. I'll definitely do at least one of them for Project Foxhole, though, but it probably won't be the one you mentioned. I've had my eye on Cold Slither for quite some time now, and since it has sort of a tenuous connection to the Transformers, I figure that's a good choice.
Question 5 comes from Cruiser Dave, aka my new best friend. As we close in on the 1986 animated movie, will you be doing an extended review of it? Possibly you could do it over 5 days, like what happened when they finally aired the movie as part of the series.
Right, that thing. Wait, did you just say 5 episodes? The movie's like 90 minutes long. That means you got it in 17-minute chunks. The average Transformers episode is 23 minutes. You got cheated out of like 6 minutes of episode every day. Yeah, I'm doing the movie, but I'm splitting it into 3 parts. Each one roughly the length of a single episode. I had intended to do something a little bigger, but that didn't pan out. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm gonna have a hard time doing the movie just this way. I love that movie. Being mean to it feels wrong.
Question 6 comes from Samael527. How are Gobots worse than Transformers?
My natural inclination here is to throw up some footage of a Gobots episode to show you exactly how, but it doesn't seem to be available on DVD. These things tend to work on demand, so the non-existence of a DVD set at this point sort of helps me. But beyond that, okay. The show was made by Hanna-Barbera, which frankly never made a good cartoon after the Flintstones. And don't say what about Scooby-Doo either. I fucking hated Scooby-Doo, and so did you. You just might not realize it. It's a terrible, terrible show. I'll try to do the old compare and contrast by memory here, since I don't have a good source material to draw from. It's not even on YouTube, for crap's sake. What's that about? Alright. Transformers had cool names like Megatron, Skywarp, Soundwave. Gobots had names like Psykill, Turbo, and Leader 1. The Transformers' homeworld was called Cybertron. The Gobots' homeworld was called Gobotron. Transformers turned into strange futuristic alien vehicles before they came to Earth because they'd never seen Earth vehicles before they got here. The Gobots were already cars and planes and motorcycles, just, I don't know, out of coincidence, I guess. Some Gobots, in an effort to make them appear cuter to kids, actually kept their faces in vehicle mode. If none of this convinces you, then at least remember this. Nerds love being divided. My cartoon is better than your cartoon. It's just how we roll. Only in this case, the Transformers people are right, because god damn, Psykill? Are you kidding me? Next question comes from Duncan Bosco, who I should mention in the interest of full disclosure is the son of one of my oldest and closest friends.
What the hell happens to Prime's back truck thing? It just poofs away. This reminds me of West Side. With robots. And other crap.
Well, you see...
My question is, what got you started on this?
Wait, that's your question? What about the poofing? Oh well. What got me started is pretty simple. I was 8 years old when the show first aired. I've been watching it more or less ever since. As I grew older and got more hateful, I noticed that I tend to yell at the television a lot when I watch them. 10 years ago, I would have just had to live with the label crazy person for doing this. Now I can point a webcam at myself and turn it into an internet phenomenon.
Question 8 comes from Alfredo Gomez. Were you ever confused about the Transformers changing in size? Like with Megatron turning smaller?
You know, people forget what the original deal with Transformers was. Here's a dramatic recreation of my first encounter with a Transformer long before the show even aired.
Hey dude, what do you got there? Oh, this is an Optimus Prime. Check this out. Hey, what? Ah! Sweet merciful fuck, what'd you just do to your toy truck, man?
Alright, I'm paraphrasing a little there. I probably didn't actually say sweet merciful fuck. But you get the idea. Transformers were originally like the song says, robots in disguise. A kid would be playing with a toy car or a toy gun, and suddenly you pull the thing apart and it'd be a robot. The Soundwave toys actually built to scale with a real mini cassette recorder. The toys were meant to trick you. So I kind of had that in mind when I watched the show. Megatron turned from a toy gun to a toy robot. I never really gave it much thought beyond that.